I'm sure many of you have been engaged with the blockchain ecosystem for a while now, and we all know how community is important for blockchain, for financial industry, right, for the tech industry overall. On the other hand, metaverse is deeply connected into the gaming world. So combining these two stances, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, CEO of earn.games, Mr. Vlatko Gigov. Please give it up for Vlatko.
Does this work? Hello? Hi, everyone. My name is Vlatko Gigov, and I'm the CEO of earn.games. I would like to start this presentation and the opening of this grand show with a commemoration of International Women's Day. And especially I want to give patronage to two pioneers and great women that actually started this movement, and they're Clara Zetkin and Rosa Luxemburg. They're kind of the Greta Thunbergs of the women's rights movement. It feels like we have been here before, a new frontier of an industry, metaverse. What does it really mean, right? Put our Oculus glasses, jump in what Facebook, or let's say Meta these days provides us, and we explore and enjoy what is there to be offered. On the other hand, we have the excitement, which also creates hype. We have so many interested investors, so many interested developers, so many interested gamers that actually want to participate in building this new world, which means connecting the physical and the digital together into a place of point where we all interact with one another. There is enormous value to be generated by metaverse projects and scaling these opportunities. The history proves it, and the Gartner hype cycle puts it in perspective. Slide. Thank you. So why is it this time different? I'll start by presenting two Venn diagrams specifically for the gaming industry, because in our philosophy at earn.games, we believe that games, just like in nature, they're at the background of everything. So before, the gaming industry, just like any other industry, has been organized in a traditional setting, compartmentalized between development, those are gaming creators plus publishers, and then the support and the community, which actually moves things forward and advances any particular industry. Actually, I call those people sneezers. They spread the word and bring people into the adoption of any new industry or traditional industry. Then, of course, games are played for entertainment, and there is a massive community worldwide that is playing games for fun, for competition, for any type of excitement. And then on the other side, you have the value which is generated based on these gameplay experiences and plays, which goes solely to investors. So how do we change that? How do we democratize access to value? And how do we generate an equitable value distribution and redistribution for everybody to actually benefit? Because gamers in this case are giving up their time, they're also producing something, and just like anything in terms of commodities, I would say that after data, of course, time is the most valuable commodity. earn.games solves this by grouping all of these interest groups together and having them participate in an autonomous organization. We call it the centralized autonomous organization type of structure, where each voice particularly can be heard and addressed accordingly and appropriately. Now, decentralized autonomous organizations are a new topic that we are exploring, and that's thanks to blockchains and crypto. We strongly believe, especially the pioneers in the space, that value generated in terms of financial means, it should be redistributed equitably. So, the metaverse, right? I mean, are we there yet, or are we just exploring new things, building, trying, maybe even failing? But one thing is very important to understand, that the value of the gaming industry is actually trapped in corporation. So, and these corporations are generating value based on the data and the time that users and players give in equitably in order to enjoy, have fun, interact with their friends, with their peers. Currently, I mean, last year there were so many movements from the big players, Amazon Games, Google, Microsoft. Everybody was acquiring gaming developers, and it was spent around 38.5 billion in these mergers and acquisitions deals. In the metaverse alone, privately and also organized within DAOs, around 47 billion has been spent to actually kickstart and move this industry forward. Now Meta, which I wonder why Facebook rebranded, maybe it's because of bad reputation, but also maybe because the valuation of the industry in 2032, it will be between 10 to 30 trillion. So the question remains, do we want that value to go back to corporations, or do we want that value to be equitably distributed to everybody that is participating in all of these industries? And this is not just for the gaming industry. The decentralized autonomous organizations, they have the power to break this traditional system. We call it the legacy system, which has been standing for quite some time now, and redistribute that trapped value more equitably. So, in terms of governance models, which are an integrated part, I would say in any organization, in any structure, in the military, in corporation, in governments, they're usually organized analogly in cooperatives or collectives. Then you can break down the legal forms, whether they're for-profit, non-profit. I mean, you guys, I guess, are from the traditional sector. You understand how to open a company, close a company, distribute dividends, etc. Now we move into the digital world. The digital world is where this organization happens in a programmable manner and fashion, where the community decides the rules. And once you set the rules in stone through the blockchain, it's very hard to actually change them and go around and actually cheat the whole system. In the analog world, I mean, we all know there is few things that you can cut corners, etc., etc. In the digital world, well, it's a bit more difficult because you need the majority to actually change how the system works. So the concept behind DAOs is actually to advance the interests of the community and be the guide for that topic, that main topic, which is value redistribution. Next slide, please. So this is here explaining how that value distribution happens, right? We're all familiar with cryptocurrencies and how they open a new frontier of investment opportunities. But cryptocurrencies in themselves are nothing without the community and without the participation of the community. There are developers that drive the whole ecosystem forward, and they are organized in forum type of based of activities, where each share their opinion in order to move the project forward. That actually has started long before, but one of the best examples of an organized community to move a distributed ledger technology project is actually Bitcoin's in inception. So, with the Genesis block of 2009, I mean, we don't dispute that there has been a lot of trial and errors, and maybe even some systems have been working prior to the Bitcoin Genesis block. That actually revolutionized the way we look at transfer of value. In the beginning of times, it was a barter trade between rice and corn and wheat and whatever anything else was needed, so you could barter trade. Blockchain actually took us a little bit to that effective trade mechanism with disintermediating the middlemen, which are banks, to actually hold that immutable ledger, which we have no oversight of, and tell us whether the transaction from A to B is right, wrong, or not. With blockchain and distributed ledgers, that's actually written and stamped for eternity on these T type of ledgers. Then we have smart contracts, which has been the innovation of Ethereum. And we all know what has happened with smart contracts and ICOs, etc., etc. Actually, I'm very happy because the industry today has moved to a point where it utilizes this innovation in a much more practical manner. So the bad actors have kind of disappeared and vanished. The good actors have stayed. The builders, the believers of this industry are still here. They're building. And that's why we're able to talk about metaverses, $10 to $30 trillion industries. I mean, the world is going to change. We just need to support these communities in order to give them the ability and the power to actually execute on their very noble agenda. In terms of games, I mean, games have been played since the existence of humanity and Earth. The nature in itself is a game, right? We talk about game theory, and that's actually tied all together with nature. But in specifically about digital games, it all started with, first of all, gaming consoles, of course, playing games at home. Secondly, local area network gaming hubs. Kids going to their local computer center and playing games one with another. Then with the advancement of internet and connectivity, now you could play games online. And that whole shift actually opened a universe of new gaming experiences. That's why the big corporations have all jumped, because money follows where there is value to be generated. And big corporations are following what the people actually want. So why wouldn't the people actually follow what they really want and be the equitable partners of their own contributions within an ecosystem? So I took this photo actually in Chichen Itza, and I wanted to show you guys how games were played before. Obviously, to me, this, until destroyed, of course, this to me looks like an immutable ledger. So some guys back then played tic-tac-toe, and obviously someone lost. We don't know what really happened to the person that lost, but I assume, based on what history tells us what was going on back then. The present games are played for fun. This is what we're living right now. There are a few snippets and glimpses of what really the future will look like. I mean, we have Axie Infinity, we have Decentraland, we have Sand, we have all kinds of pioneers in the space that are actually building user-friendly and scalable solutions for the gaming industry and redistributing games all across. The future, of course, holds that question mark in the previous slide, which is the metaverse. I mean, how are we going to attract and redistribute that potential 10 to 30 trillion dollar valuation of the metaverse industry in the next 10 years? Well, we at earn.games believe that communities and decentralized autonomous organizations are the way to actually achieve that. We believe in equitable redistribution of wealth, and we believe in the community's power to tell us without having to call a marketing agency, do a market study, push some products or games that are not adequate or not in line with the values and commitments and the future development of, first of all, our kids, because they're playing these games mostly, so they need to be effectively with an educational character. Earn.games operationalizes a gaming marketplace where every single interest group in the gaming space and the future, the metaverse, will have their equitable position to protect their wealth, increase their wealth, and make a statement whether the industry is moving at the right direction. Next slide. The future will be gamified. Thank you very much.